Chapter 21 Peace Research Institute MADS. You are listening at novelfold.audio. Chapter 21 Peace Research Institute MADS. Nine-tailed demon fox, Ari, is a branch of the Vastaya tribe, similar to the fur tribe in the pirate world. They all have animal characteristics. The Vastaya tribe covers an even wider range, including mammals, birds, reptiles, and mermaids. Ari is a very special individual among them. She is born with a connection to magic in the spiritual realm. It is for this reason that Oran occasionally appears near Ari during his dream journey. The strong mental resistance makes Oran immune to Ari's natural talent for confusion. The huge mental energy can even replenish Ari's daily consumption. After meeting several times, the two have become a kind of pen pal, or a dream-friend relationship. It's 7 days. I won't be wrong. The last time you appeared, you said you were talking about business at the port of Bilgewater. I was curious at first. Why did you appear so frequently this time? Olan can be sure that at least a few months have passed since he left the Valley of the Gods. It seems that the flow rate of time on both sides is somewhat different. It's just an accident. Please take a message back to Piltover for me. Tell them that I probably won't be able to go back for a while. Let them keep everything as usual. If there are any problems, go to Mr. Heimerdinger. The location of the dream is uncontrollable, and it's not easy to meet an acquaintance who can take the message back. You let a weak woman like me travel across the ocean, just to pass on your message. Are you a weak woman? It's not that troublesome. Just go to Set's people. I'm not sure when I'll meet an acquaintance next time, so I'll leave it to you. Set. The madman in the fighting arena? Will he help you do things? I know his mother very well. You should have heard that the guy is half a mama's boy. The night wind blew, and Ari was a little speechless for a while. She always felt that there was something wrong with Orlan's words, but she couldn't find the problem. You have so many secrets. But what kind of trouble did you encounter? Do you need help? Some special experiences. You can't help me. Time is running out. I'm sorry to bother you with this matter. I will bring you more interesting stories next time we meet. Olan's body gradually became illusory, as if he had never appeared here. Troublesome men really know how to order others around. Ari turned around and walked towards a forest path. It was not close from here to Set's territory. To send the message from Ionia to Piltover, she had to cross the sea. If she wanted to deliver the message in time, she couldn't delay. The dawn sun shone on Oran's face. Compared with yesterday, the kingdom of Salb has not changed much. In addition to daily learning, the bears have a new process to understand the world with Blitz. The metal shell is still extremely cold, but Blitz's heart has begun to grow. It's there, Blitz, grab it. Swoosh. At this time, Blitz was standing on the beach, and Kate was sitting on top of Blitz. As the mechanical claw shot into the sea, a tuna with an elephant's trunk was caught from the sea. Blitz's growth module learned quickly. While catching the elephant tuna, an electric current was released from his palm, which directly shocked the fish. What a strange fish, it has the same trunk as the elephant master. It's an elephant tuna, a specialty fish in the South China Sea. I heard that it is a gem of the ocean and a miraculous ingredient. The nose is the most delicious area. Kate had never seen this kind of fish, but Blitz recognized the species of this fish based on the knowledge module in his mind and started his own science popularization. Blitz, you know a lot. The master entered the relevant knowledge into my program. Then do you know what Oran likes most? Oran often behaves without desire, and everything he does is highly purposeful. What he is thinking in his heart, neither Kate nor the bear knows, and even after leaving the Valley of Gods, Oran has not seen any excessive emotional fluctuations. No relevant information. Blitz will ask the master tonight. Wait. No need to ask this. Do you know what a private topic is? I don't understand. Blitz is still learning. Although there is a growth module, Blitz is very ignorant of everything. The perfect logic mechanism makes people feel that there is a real soul under this iron shell, but once you delve into some problems, the logic of the robot can sometimes make people crazy, woo. At this time, a whistle suddenly sounded in the distance, and a steam ship with a very special appearance appeared in the waters of the Kingdom of Sulb. Compared with the streamlined shape of ordinary ships, the shape of this ship is closer to a cylinder. The letters MADS on the hull are very conspicuous, and the flag above also says pacifist to indicate peace. The Valley of the Gods incident has ended for several months, but the situation in the sea has not improved. The original group of monsters barely gathered into a group under the suppression of rocks and concentrated on the vicinity of the Honeycomb Island. Now, with the end of rocks, people who are unwilling to be lonely have set sail again, including the Big Mom Pirates, the Whitebeard Pirates, and the Sky Pirates. The pressure on the sea has increased a lot, the Navy is running around, and the scope of the war is also expanding. At this time, some people also began to take action. Dewfield, one of the leaders of the underground world, nicknamed the King of Usury, began to run some charitable industries for his own reputation. Under his investment, the Peace Research Institute named MADS was established some time ago, and a large number of scientists who needed research funds were recruited. Dewfield provided money to support these people to study projects that are conducive to peace. Regardless of whether there are results or not, Dewfield's goal has been achieved. The person leading the MADS team is Vegapunk. Today, Vegapunk is not as famous as in the original time, but it is also well known in some areas. That is why it received funding from Dewfield. Now MADS is sailing around, recruiting new people while conducting research, looking for geniuses hidden around the world. The reason why they arrived at the Kingdom of Sulb is because the ship was damaged and needed to be repaired. From the nearby areas, they found out that the Kingdom of Sulb seemed to be able to forge better quality metals. How can such a remote place look like there is a smelter? Vegapunk is really easy to fool. Point 2 People wearing research suits and having non-mainstream yellow hairstyles are complaining about Vegapunk. They are also researchers who joined MADS for research funds, but they are not convinced that Vegapunk should lead them. In their eyes, their technical level is better than Vegapunk. The relationship between these two yellow-haired guys is not very good. They are just on the same side and questioning Vegapunk. That's right. Wait, Quinn, what do you see over there? Jage, it seems that you are just SOSO, this remote robot. Chapter 22 Quinn being beaten may be a tradition. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Two yellow-haired guys, one tall and one short. The taller one has yellow hair that extends to the neck like a mane. He wears earrings and thick purple lip gloss. He is Quinn, the future Beasts Pirates artistic disaster Quinn who is good at singing, dancing, and rapping. The other shorter one's hair is obviously styled with hairspray, but I don't know if it's because of the damp sea breeze or his gloomy expression, but he looks like a succulent plant. He is Vinsmoke Judge, the future commander of Germa 66. They now have one thing in common. Youth. Both of them are 17 or 18 years old and joined MADS as genius. Boys, the source of motivation is their ambition or the temptation of money. Maybe these people don't have the ethics of researchers, but they all have their own technical level. As long as they don't compare with Vegapunk, they are also top-notch in some aspects, and this also leads to another characteristic, arrogance. They are all young and energetic, and no one wants to be inferior to others. This is one of the reasons why they don't accept Vegapunk's leadership, but they could only say they didn't accept it. After all, Dewfeld believed in Vegapunk and was the sponsor of MADS. Dewfeld was not the strongest in the underground world, but he must be the richest now. If he offended this sponsor, it would be difficult to find a new sponsor. Impossible. How can there be a fully automatic robot in such a place? It must be a fake. Jaji, I think your eyesight is just like that. These people didn't accept Vegapunk, but they also had some real skills and could see the technical gap. Quinn couldn't accept that he would meet someone with better technology than himself in such a remote place, and he subjectively rejected all of this. It's obviously an empty shell, you can't even see this. As soon as Quinn finished speaking, Blitz released the flying claw again and caught a new catch. Ha ha ha, it seems that your eyesight is worse. You can't even tell the truth from the false. The two's weak united front against Vegapunk was about to collapse, and they were about to fight, but the MADS ship also docked at this time, which stopped their fight. it is not a happy thing to sail on the sea for a long time, even if the ship has a lot of technical and financial support. The people on the ship cherish the time of docking. When the ship replenishes supplies, the crew will indulge themselves, and ordinary people also welcome these crew members. They can be said to be the main force of consumption on the sea. However, Quinn and Judge did not stop completely because of this. Their curiosity about Blitzcrank was not extinguished. After the ship docked, they walked towards the direction of Blitzcrank together, intending to take a closer look at what it was. The one on top of it is a fur tribe, right? I didn't expect to meet a fur tribe in the South China Sea. Did she make this robot? No, how could such a kid have such ability? I think there might be a person hidden in the iron shell. The place where Blitz and Kate were fishing was not far from the port. Quinn and Judge came over soon, but the closer they got, the more uneasy they felt. Blitz could not only catch fish with his flying claws, but also communicate with Kate. Neither Quinn nor Judge had the ability to make such a thing. Who would hide themselves in an iron shell to catch fish for fun? Is it to amuse children? Judge did not agree with Quinn's logic and raised an objection for the sake of opposition, but Quinn did not debate with him, but walked towards Blitz without hesitation. Hey! That little cat! Did you make this iron shell? Kate narrowed her eyes and looked at Quinn, who was walking over. She didn't like the name of kitten. The group of celestial dragons always called her that before, but now the situation has changed. She won't lose control of her emotions because of a word. Blitz didn't care about the name of the iron guy, but stared at Quinn and Judge. One of them was holding a knife and the other was carrying a gun. With the yellow hair and the street-like dressing style, they didn't look like good people at all. Who are you two? What do you want to do? Don't get me wrong, although this guy doesn't look like a good thing, we are scientists who aim at peaceful research. We were curious after seeing this robot on the ship, so we came closer to take a look. Judge explained the behavior of the two and belittled Quinn, but it didn't make any sense. Meow, I don't think you're a good person either. Mhahaha. Gotsi, did you hear that? Even a kitten can tell what you look like. My handsome appearance is so trustworthy. No, Meow doesn't believe you. The gloomy man and the narcissist, Kate has already labeled them in her heart. Blitz is not an iron shell, Blitz is a robot, a creation of the master. Blitz's thinking logic is still evolving. Seeing that the person in front of him suspected that he was an empty shell, Blitz directly opened the power cabin in his chest. The steam engine and core inside also explained the essence of Blitz. It's actually a machine, but this energy supply method feels a bit low-level. How can steam run for a long time? If I were to do it, I should improve it like this. These places should also be improved. After removing the redundant voice module, Quinn instinctively criticized Blitz and proposed some improvement plans. To sum up, although I can't build such a machine, my Quinn is still better, Judge would occasionally respond to Quinn. After all, Judge always felt that he was stronger than Quinn. In front of outsiders, he could also better contrast himself with Quinn. However, neither of them realized that Blitzcrank's body had become a little abnormal, especially after they said that they wanted to take Blitzcrank apart. Blitzcrank's mechanical fist was already raised. The master's design is perfect. Blitzcrank is not your toy. Blitzcrank is very angry. Mahaha, Judge, did you hear that? A machine actually said the word angry. What kind of guy would add such a useless word to the robot to scare people? Quinn, why do I feel that this iron guy is serious? Judge took a few steps back. He had a bad premonition, and Quinn's adjectives for Orlan seemed to completely anger Blitzcrank, who was just born. Blitzcrank raised his hands above his head and put Kate on the ground. Then a lot of steam gushed out from behind, and electric currents surrounded the shell. Blitzcrank, who had been standing quietly in place, rushed out like a tank. Under overload operation, Blitzcrank's speed suddenly increased, and his fully charged fist hit Quinn directly. Blitzcrank, you need to apologize. Chapter 23 Steam Robot completes double kill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Apologize to you? You're just an iron shell, I won't listen to you. Watch me tear this guy down. Quinn still didn't take the robot's threats to heart. Due to his body structure, Blitzcrank moved in an overloaded state in a slightly humorous manner, and his bulky body didn't look too threatening. Facing the charging robot, Quinn bowed his legs, charged up a little and jumped directly into the air. He held the knife in both hands and raised it above his head, aiming at Blitzcrank's neck and slashing it. The design actually leaves such a weak point. What else is there to say about such obvious design flaws? Compared to Blitzcrank's heavy body, the neck is indeed much slender, but Blitzcrank's response was very simple. Some steam dissipated from the body, and Blitzcrank's neck also shrank back, hiding directly under the metal. In the neck brace, Kang. The blade struck Blitzcrank's body, but it only removed some paint flakes. Blitzcrank's body was unscathed, but Quinn's hands were numb from the shock. Gaji and Quinn in the original timeline were not weak when they grew up. They were not top monsters in the new world, but they were considered high-end combat power, but now, they have not reached that point yet. Both the technical level and the combat level are just starting out. In the process of making Blitzcrank, Xiong put in a lot of effort. In the absence of stamping machines and other equipment, the meatball fruit became the most useful tool, which is very convenient for both compression and purification. The main body of Blitzcrank is made of such a special alloy. Its hardness, strength, ductility, and toughness have reached a relatively ideal average value, and it also has strong corrosion resistance. Facing Blitzcrank, whose body is made of special metal, even a swordsman who has mastered the ability to cut through iron will not get much benefit. He can't even cut through iron, and there's nothing he can do with it. Metal is harder than flesh. Bang! Blitzcrank's charged fist hit Quinn in the stomach, causing him to fly higher into the sky. He performed a graceful free fall in the air, and finally landed in a stream nearby. Today, Blitzcrank still aims to teach them a lesson and make them apologize, so the force of his fists is not too strong, so it doesn't take long for Quinn to climb out wet and hunched over. Ha, Quinn, you are really embarrassed to be like this. Is this the powerful body you usually show off? I think it's nothing more than that. Why are you laughing there? Why don't you come to help? You did it yourself, why should I help you? Gaji acted as if he didn't want to interfere at all. At this time, Gaji seemed to have forgotten that when Quinn narcissistically touted his abilities, he also responded a few times. Humans may be able to tell that Gaji is just perfunctory, but Blitzcrank is different. Blitzcrank, who is still growing, has classified Gaji and Quinn into the same category of people. Whoosh. While Gaji was still mocking Quinn for being deflated, the robotic flying claws had already grabbed him. Hey. How do you judge the enemy? It obviously has nothing to do with me. This explanation was obviously of no use. Blitzcrank turned his upper body and threw Gotzi towards Quinn, causing Quinn, who had just climbed out of the stream, to fall back again. That is to say, Quinn hasn't eaten the devil fruit yet, otherwise he would probably sink to the bottom if he kept going back and forth. Asshole, I'm not that good for nothing, Quinn, let you have a taste of my power. Gaji took out something similar to a gunhead from his body and pressed it on the front of his musket. After a brief aim, he fired in the direction of Blitzcrank. Blitzcrank's mechanical flying claws that had not been recovered directly caught the object launched by Gaji in mid-air, but Gaji showed a proud smile, and saw the arrow suddenly exploded, and a powerful current flowed along it was transmitted to his body through Blitzcrank's arm. Spread it there for me. You stupid iron-shelled man, that was the stun gun Gaji was researching. He wanted to use strong current to short-circuit Blitzcrank and paralyze him. With a burst of strong electric light, Blitzcrank's own movements gradually slowed down. Look, Quinn, this is the right thing to do, you idiot, actually fighting with a robot. I really don't know what you think. Sorry, kitten, I broke your robot. How about we help you fix it later? It wasn't that Gaji had any intention of taking responsibility, but he was very curious about the internal structure of this robot and wanted to see with his own eyes what it was like inside Blitzcrank. However, from Kate's eyes, Gaji saw a look of pity. Look. Meow thinks it's best for you to run away now. Kate followed Oran to see the birth process of Blitzcrank. She knew that after overloading, Blitzcrank would have a brief period of stiffness and its movements would become slower. Even though Blitzcrank is surrounded by electric current, as if it is short-circuited, this has nothing to do with Gaji's attack. The electric current actually comes from the energy core in Blitzcrank's body. Gaji's electric shock gun tip failed to stop Blitzcrank, but instead activated its fighting stance. The next moment, Gene Blitzcrank went berserk, waving his electric fists and rushing towards the two of them at an even faster speed. Gaji! You idiot! Look at the good things you have done. You bastard didn't start it. What qualifications do you have to criticize me, Jila? The electric current on Blitzcrank began to spread after approaching them. After seeing the trouble Blitzcrank was in, they gave up the head-on confrontation and turned to avoid Blitzcrank's attack, but the flying mechanical claws and the spreading electric current made them cry out in pain. Quinn! Apologize to it quickly. Make this iron guy stop. I don't want it. Where will my face be? If you don't apologize, you should think about where our lives will be. In the midday sun, Blitzcrank chased the two people in front of him and kept teaching them a lesson. Although Quinn chose to give in after persisting for a while, it seemed too late. Blitzcrank's goal seemed to have changed from making them apologize to simply teaching them a lesson. Olan, there is something wrong with Blitzcrank. He is beating up two people who came down from a ship called MADS because of the previous. Do you need to make Blitzcrank stop? Kate called Oran's Den Mushy, described the previous situation, and asked what to do next. According to her judgment, these two people are not yet considered villains, so there is no need to kill them directly. However, she was also very upset by Orlan's contemptuous tone before, so she did not interfere with Blitzcrank's behavior. After all, Blitzcrank has not yet started the annihilation mode, so no one will die. Mads? It looks like your men. Do you have anything to say? Olan did not answer Kate immediately, but looked at the tall man in front of him, a man whose head was as big as his body. Chapter 24 Vegapunk, Invitation from MADS. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Wearing a pair of sunglasses and a plaid shirt, the person in front of Orlan is Vegapunk, the director of MADS, who was hailed as a genius scientist who led the world for 500 years. Many years later, not long ago, when Gage and Quinn left the team and moved freely, Vegapunk also came to the newly built smelter in the kingdom of Sulb. Vegapunk could sense a sense of disharmony. The style of the entire smelter was not quite consistent with the kingdom of Sulb, both in terms of technology and architectural style. The ordinary researchers of MADS discussed the charging issue with the workers here. After asking around, Vegapunk found Orlan, who happened to be here for technical guidance. Hello, I am Vegapunk, the director of MADS. I heard that this place was built under your guidance. It's a great idea. Orlan still remembers Vegapunk, and many invention projects are related to Vegapunk. Although many technologies are reproduced from ancient documents, this is also a skill. Researching such things is not something that can be directly put into practice by looking at the data documents. Apart from other things, the artificial devil fruit made by Vegapunk in the original timeline is really a world apart from the inferior fruit made by Caesar. Today's Vegapunk does not have so many reputations and achievements, and compared with those future things, this big head attracts Oran's attention more. Is it strange? I am the ability user of the brain fruit, so my head is slightly bigger. The superhuman brain fruit can make the brain capacity of the ability user infinitely large, which is a good help for researchers. Oran himself is not opposed to devil fruits. This is the most mysterious thing in the sea, which can always bring a lot of help to people. The meatball fruit of the bear has helped Oran a lot. Oran himself is also interested in several devil fruits. For example, the swallow fruit is one of Oran's plan list. With this fruit, the restrictions on materials will be completely lifted. There are several other fruits that are powerful or conceptual, which have attracted Oran's attention, but there is no chance to see them in the kingdom of Sulb. Nothing, I have seen many people who are weirder than you. I am Sidilir Oran, the technical director here. After a brief self-introduction, the two chatted about some technical topics, and the scientific research ideas of different worlds began to intertwine. It was at this time that Kate called Oran. Did you just say that you are the director of MADS? MADS is not a particularly formal organization, and the members have a high degree of freedom. I can go with you to see it. If they cause you trouble, I will deal with it. MADS is more like a salon gathering of a group of science enthusiasts, studying the same thing while exchanging experiences. Without a clear superior-subordinate relationship, Vegapunk can manage others by relying on funds. Due to the issue of trust, Field also handed over the management of funds to Vegapunk. If someone makes trouble, Vegapunk can cut off the other party's research funds. Science is a money-burning thing. If they leave the organization, most people will not be able to be self-sufficient, so MADS has maintained relative stability. Maybe there will be no trouble, but let me make it clear first, I will not pay for the medical expenses. Kate explained very clearly that it was the other party who caused the dispute. In this case, let alone injury, it was to trigger Blitz's annihilation mode, which Oran thought was very reasonable. Vegapunk just nodded silently. This is also the unspoken rule of MADS. Members have a high degree of freedom and can act freely. Correspondingly, if someone gets into trouble, others will not share the pressure for him. This place is not close to the place where Blitz is fishing. Even if Oran leaves immediately after receiving the news, it will take some time to get there. When Oran arrived there, it had changed from noon to dusk, and under the setting sun, 3 figures were running along the beach. That was the first long-distance run since Blitz was born, and it was also the youth that some people did not want to recall in their lifetime. How come the energy of this thing hasn't been used up yet? How should I know? It's all because of you, an idiot. Blitzcrank followed closely behind Judge and Quinn, keeping a rather ambiguous distance, neither running over them nor letting them run away. If they ran too slowly, they would feel what an electric fist is. Quinn and Judge judged from the steam behind Blitzcrank that this was a steam-powered robot. As long as they could use up the opponent's fuel, they would win. As a result, Blitzcrank's endurance exceeded their expectations. After all, Hex Crystal is Blitzcrank's real energy core. It is unrealistic to want to use it up. Blitzcrank can chase you all day long. This is the result of the learning module. Orlan only programmed the basic operation mode for Blitzcrank. Now Blitzcrank essentially does not understand emotions. Angry and angry are just interjections used for threats. Blitzcrank did this because the program code determined that the other party's behavior needed to be taught a lesson, and Blitzcrank had been with Kate for a long time, which led to Blitzcrank's partial cat-like habits, such as how to play with prey. Blitzcrank, that's enough. The sound was not loud, but Blitzcrank's sensor received this information, and immediately stopped his pace and walked towards Oran and Kate again. The liberated Quinn and Gaji also breathed a sigh of relief. He fell straight down on the beach and gasped. Master, Blitzcrank is waiting for instructions. Move freely in the neighborhood and be available at all times. Clear. Blitz swayed to the side and assisted Kate on the side to handle today's catch. If it is not processed, the fish may become rotten. It's hard to imagine that it can carry out such a general order. This was the first time that Vegapunk had seen a robot with such a high degree of intelligence. Although he had made some achievements about robots, those robots had to give orders in very detail, otherwise ambiguity would easily arise. Let him buy a piece of bamboo, and he may not know what he will bring back in the end, but Blitzcrank is different. If the current Blitzcrank is asked to buy bamboo, Blitzcrank will choose a bamboo that is most suitable for the current situation. Since it calls you its master, it must be your work. May I ask what your thoughts were when you studied it? A desire for knowledge also arose in Vegapunk's heart. For him, unknown technology is too attractive. I just stood on the shoulders of giants and slightly improved the existing technology. It's not a big deal. On the shoulders of giants is a good metaphor. Isn't this how science is passed down from generation to generation? Mr. Sidilir, are you interested in joining MADS? Chapter 25 Spiritual Victory and Conditions. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mr. Sidilir, I formally invite you to join us as the director of the MADS Institute. I believe that the environment in this country will only limit your talents. Only by stepping out of the limitations here can you better realize your ambitions. Vegapunk extended the invitation sincerely, but as he spoke, his tongue hung down like a tie. In addition to his extremely big head, his long tongue is also his characteristic. Today, Vegapunk is in his prime, and his tongue can be retracted when he is not talking. When he gets older, his tongue will really become an external decoration like a tie. At this time, there was no one on the beach of Sol Bay Kingdom. The local residents had already gone home and were ready to rest. The sound spread loudly in the quiet sea breeze, and Gaji and Quinn, who were lying on the beach exhausted, did not exception. Hearing Vegapunk's words, Oran didn't say anything, but the two of them jumped up first. Vegapunk. What are you talking about? You actually invited him? That robot just beat us up, didn't you see? The resentment in their bodies seemed to give them both physical strength again, but Vegapunk didn't care about it. Isn't this more proof that Sidilir's technology is stronger than yours? That MADS does not explicitly prohibit infighting, but the method of comparison is to rely on its own technical products. Winning can prove that its own technology is superior. There were usually fights between Gaji and Quinn, but this time they were knocked down together by Blitzcrank. Vegapunk's words were like a heavy hammer hitting their hearts. The most unacceptable thing for them was to admit that their skills were inferior to others. If you are not convinced, just build one just like it. If you can do it, I will give you part of my research funds. Do you want to try it? Dufeld sponsors a lot of money, but the total amount is fixed, and no additional money will be given out due to the increase in the number of people. So essentially, the fewer people in the institute, the more funds they can personally use. It doesn't matter to ordinary researchers. Those people are just assistants and cannot touch their funds. However, Vegapunk personally invited him to join, which is obviously because of his ability. If Olan officially joins, their activity funds will definitely be divided. That's why they objected in this way, but Vegapunk's reasons prevented them from saying anything at all. Vegapunk, remember what you said, there are two of us. After a moment of negativity, Quinn seemed to think of something, and then looked at Gaji beside him. Gaji, let's join forces first. If we join forces, we will definitely be able to surpass these guys. We will split the funds in half by then. I agree, let's join forces first. Let's start now. If it doesn't work, bring in that guy Caesar. Mahaha, you are quite smart at this time. Although Caesar's trash will take part of it, as long as you can defeat Vegapunk and the guy he likes, it will be worth it. That the two supported each other and walked towards the MADS research ship while laughing. Gaji and Quinn have even convinced themselves mentally. Judging from their current performance, it seems that they have won. Blitzcrank, Meow thinks we should find a chance to beat them up again. They haven't learned their lesson at all. This guy actually thinks he is better than Oran. Blitzcrank agrees with you, but it requires a reason. Kate and Blitzcrank, who were smoking fish not far away, witnessed all this and even began to think about their next plan. At the same time, Vegapunk had his eyes on Blitzcrank. This kind of robot that is highly close to human thinking made him more and more curious. How about it, Mr. Sidilir Oran? I am very serious. What can I gain by joining you? Olan has no objection to joining this research group, which will also be of great help to him. Ready-made high-quality ships and research assistants with qualified basic knowledge can already be of great help. Moreover, the MADS research project involves one of the most mysterious things in the sea, bloodline factors. Having already come to this sea, Olan will certainly not give up research on this kind of thing. Rather than starting from scratch, it is naturally best to have something to learn from. Funds, materials, equipment, we can also explore new ideas together. Your robot seems to have a wonderful way of supplying energy. What if we can expand it? The goal of this organization is to contribute to peace. The conflicts in the world originate from the competition for resources. So if there is an endless energy source, can people put aside their disputes? I accidentally said too much. This is my personal goal, don't worry about it. A good goal, but not very realistic. Human ambition will expand infinitely. Once it starts, it will not stop. Even if you create this kind of energy for the world, someone will have greater ambitions. If you don't try it, how can you know whether it's right or wrong? Neither Olan nor Vegapunk had any intention of criticizing the other's ideas, they just made suggestions from their personal point of view, because they both knew that it was a difference in philosophy. The conditions given by Vegapunk are all what Oran needs. The Kingdom of Sorb cannot provide Oran with huge funds, and there is no way to find research materials. Devil fruits seem to be common, but based on the entire sea, it is still quite rare. Unknown devil fruits whose names are unknown can be sold for at least 100 million Baileys, and only those powerful forces can have them. Although he had the intention to join, Vegapunk took the initiative to invite him, and Orlan also planned to take this opportunity to set more conditions. Others cannot interfere with my research. I need an independent research room and sufficient funds. That's as it should be. The robots you made have already demonstrated your level, but the specific amount depends on the sponsor's situation. This request is nothing to Vegapunk, but a very reasonable request. Second, I need devil fruits for research, no limit on types. The Kingdom of Solb has no channels, but Orlan believes that MADS has this channel to find it. This is one of our research projects, and it's not a problem, but if you want to use a fruit alone, we need to discuss the situation together. After all, there are not many such resources. Vegapunk agreed to these two conditions without much thought, or in Vegapunk's view, these are not difficult conditions. There is one last thing, I need an operating room with a sanitary environment that meets the standards, complete equipment, and sufficient medical staff. Chapter 26 Hex Heart Type 1 Codename, Zaun Fireworks. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 26 Hex Heart Type I Codename, Zaun Fireworks. There is a medical room on the ship with top-notch equipment and professional medical staff. It will definitely meet your needs. Is there anything wrong with your health? Du Feld spent a lot of money to invest in this group of people to make a name for himself. If anyone died of illness halfway, it would be a big loss. Scientific research is a bottomless pit, and Du Feld has already made a lot of money, so he doesn't care about the small money. No, but the child's heart is not very good. I promised her that I would take care of it for her. That fur girl. Valve defect or blood vessel. Congenital cardiogenic heart disease. If it weren't for the constitution of the fur tribe, I guess she wouldn't be able to hold on long ago. Originally, I planned to take her to another country to deal with it after a while. The medical level in the Kingdom of Sorb is very average. There is indeed an operating room here, but that operating room, if the person survives the operation, it can only be said that he is lucky. I can help you with medical issues. I am also a doctor myself, but have you found a suitable heart source? Vegapunk himself has made some achievements in medicine, and has overcome many difficult and complicated diseases. It would not be difficult for them to just do a thoracotomy, but the problem is the source of the heart. The human body is a very complex thing, fragile and powerful at the same time. It is difficult to recreate a strong heart, and rejection will eliminate most options, even if the two are compatible. Whether they can persist through the rejection period and whether it will affect their subsequent lives will be a question. I don't recommend heart transplant. Conservative treatment may allow her to live longer. After all, she is a fur tribe, and the difficulty of matching the heart is too high. Although humans and fishmen and other races bleed the same blood, there are still obvious differences in their organs. The fishmen's dual respiratory system and the furmen's electrical discharge ability make their heart somewhat different from humans. Director Vegapunk, you may have misunderstood one thing. I never said that I wanted to find the source of my heart. Vegapunk's worries were not a problem in Oran's view. Vegapunk made one mistake from the very beginning. What limited Oran was not technology and mental resources, but the basic environment of the Kingdom of Sorbi. Even some basic parts cannot be manufactured here, and the quality of the citizens does not meet the recruitment requirements for some products. For example, if someone can produce bricks, then Oran can teach them to build walls from bricks. The problem is that these people don't even know how to dig the soil for burning bricks. They have blocked a road from the root. If they develop here step by step, they can probably make incense for Kate. What's more, this thing called Xinyuan, even in places where the situation is relatively peaceful and the system is relatively complete, it is difficult to find it. There are not many people willing to donate bodies, and there are even fewer people who can find hearts that can be used. Even if they can be equipped, there will be more in the future. There are a series of questions. Killing for such a purpose is not in line with Olan's principles, not to mention that he has no use for such low-level methods. Don't be so limited to the physical body. Machinery is also another option. Hextech heart. This is the plan Oran had in mind when he planned to deal with Kate's heart problem. After all, there was more than one such example in Piltover in the original timeline. Whether it was the green steel Shadow Camille or the clockwork demon Oriana, the hearts of both were replaced by Hex's heart. The former is for strength, the latter is for survival and fatherhood. Excessive transformation can dehumanize, as long as it's not something completely uncontrollable. Mechanical. With all due respect, there is currently no machine that can run as powerfully as the heart for decades. That's just because you don't know. Director Vegapunk, you are being imprisoned by your cognition. This is a taboo for scientists. Vegapunk's movements suddenly stiffened. Olan's words made him realize a recent problem of his. He had been trying to use known means to overcome future problems, which instead led him to a dead end. With Vegapunk's thinking, he would not dwell on this matter for too long, but Olan's words saved him more time. I have heard a saying that humans cannot imagine things they have never seen before, and all fantasies are based on their own cognition. Artificial hearts are not one of them. At least I think it is much easier to make such a thing than to imagine a color that has never existed. Since you can agree to my conditions, then I have no problem. It just so happens that you plan to stay here for a few days, and I will finish the things at hand in these few days. Olan's conditions and Vegapunk have agreed, so there is nothing wrong with joining an organization that is beneficial to his research. As for the possibility of attracting the attention of the world government after setting sail, it is not a problem. First of all, no member of the world government has seen Oran's true appearance. The only celestial dragon who had close contact with him has long since died. Even those who fled together at the time, most of them do not know Oran's name and face. Oran used a gas mask to cover his face when he was in the Valley of the Gods. Now he has changed his hairstyle and taken off his glasses. In this world where prosopagnosia is very common, this is already a very strong cover. The world government itself has no idea what happened on the island during that period. Countless pirate groups have turned the place upside down, and now there is not even a stone left. It is hard to trace it. Now there is no news from the Valley of the Gods on the sea, and the concealment of the world government has begun to show its effectiveness. In this case, even if you want to find someone, it is impossible to issue a wanted notice. According to the world government's usual efficiency, even if you can find it, Nika should come out to dance by then. After confirming the intention, Vegapunk took Oran to visit the medical room on the ship. After confirming that the facilities here are fine, Oran also found Kate and told her about his medical plan. Olan, do you mean you can handle my illness? I remember I told you at the beginning that I was not trying to comfort you, but I just designed the specific plan not long ago. As I just said, the Hex heart will replace your original heart. I am fully confident in this operation, and you will be able to run freely soon, but there are some important special matters that I need to explain to you first. After talking about the operation, Oran's expression became serious. He was sure of the safety of the operation, but he could not control some of the randomness that would appear in it. That was the characteristic of the Hex crystal itself. Looking at Oran's serious expression, Kate's mood, which had just relaxed, became tense again. Although she always felt that she had let it go, when the choice really came, her mentality would still be different. Let's talk about the good side first. According to the racial characteristics of your fur tribe, I adjusted some of the structures of the Hex heart, which can enhance your control over the electric current. I named this model of the heart, Zaun Fireworks. Chapter 27, Zuan District, a place of outstanding people and beautiful scenery, cats undergoing hair. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What does Zuan mean? Kate could understand the meaning of the word Hanabi literally, but she didn't understand the pronunciation of Zuan. Although the thing was made by Oran and he had the final say on the code name, Kate also wanted to find out. Zuan, the place where I lived before was a good place, with simple folk customs and producing talents in large numbers. Zaun and Piltover were once united, but have long since split into separate factions. Perhaps Zuan's way of greeting is a bit special, but most of them are prejudices and rumors. Only those who have truly experienced Zuan's environment will know that it is already polite. Zaun has always been shrouded in the twilight of smog, but the bustling place has not given up. The residents here are all-encompassing and the culture is colorful. Piltover's wealth also fueled Zaun's growth, making it a dark mirror to the city above. Zaun is much more dangerous than Piltover, but even in such an environment, people still manage to survive and prosper. Zaun Hanabi Zili is one example. Born in a worker's family in Zaun, she was born with a special relationship with electricity. As time grew up, she began to make use of this power. Zili fought bravely for those who were unable to resist. Zuan is not perfect, and neither is Zili, but sometimes, a spark of fire may finally illuminate all the haze. Oran has been in contact with Zili, and has treated Zili's body injured several times under the siege of the alchemy barons, so he has a certain understanding of her abilities. So this Hex Heart was born. The electric energy operation method comes from Zili, and at the same time combines the characteristics of the Fur tribe. With the systematic training method and special equipment, Kate's power will usher in a qualitative change. This is the story of Zili. Like you, she was originally an ordinary girl, but the environment changed everything. She did not give up the fight and became a spark that ignited the fire. The seed has been sown and there's been no turning back from the start. So Kate, are you ready to be the new spark in the sea? At this time, the Hex Heart was in Oran's hands, and strange energy was flowing in the core. The sun had already fallen below the sea level at some point, and the blue light also illuminated Kate's face, and they were in the magical place. The valley is very similar. What about the price? You said that equal exchange is your principle. This is an investment. As you said before, you have to use the rest of your time to protect me, but my bodyguard is too weak, and the term in your previous plan was too short. Remember, Meow. Meow will definitely do what he says. Your investment will not be a loss. Meow will use this new power to accomplish the goals he set in the past. Kate's eyes were firm, once for the Valley of the Gods and once for the heart. Even if Oran had her own purpose, she still owed 2 lives. She still remembered what Oran said in the Valley of Gods. At this moment, Kate was even more determined to follow Oran. Very good, then there are some side effects that this heart will cause, but they are not a big problem. These side effects are even a good thing. First, your growth slows down and stops completely just as your body reaches its optimal state. The energy of Hexa's heart can even affect the entire body, so King Ganying remains young forever. Even when her brother becomes older and older due to time, she can still devote herself to the family. The reason why Kate, who was still a child, can continue to grow is because Olin has made some changes. The remaining one is the more harmful one. If you can't stick to your true feelings, your emotions may gradually disappear as time goes by. This is entirely up to you. As long as the scope of Hex enhancement surgery is not continued to increase, this possibility is very low, but once one is attracted by power and becomes addicted to power, this will have a negative consequence. Of course, if human nature is not considered, this can also be regarded as strengthening. That kind of meow. Is it still meow? Of course it is you, but you will become more rational, but your heart is strong enough and you can overcome it. I understand, it's okay, meow. Meow is ready, you can start at any time. I've seen the operating room, and the environment meets the requirements. I'm going to start fasting now, and I'll stop drinking water tomorrow morning. Also, let me make it clear that skin preparation is required for surgery, you should know that. Oran was very doubtful about Zoe's medical level, so he gave Kate a vaccination first. Judging from her confused expression, she really didn't know the word. The process is not complicated, but the first step is to shave your hair. Shave. The word seemed to step on Kate's tail, sending her into a frenzy again, something she was more afraid of than open-heart surgery. Can you please stop shaving? Meow. What fur people cherish most is their hair. Although it can still grow back, The thought of that period of time when it was bald made Kate feel terrible. Unfortunately, we can't. Don't worry, a nurse will take care of it for you. Sleep peacefully and you will have a healthy body soon. After telling Kate a specific plan, Oran let her go to rest, and he and Blitz returned to the church residence. Bear, Ginny, I'm ready to leave. When you leave Oran, are you going to sing the praises of freedom just like your elder brother? Hearing Olan's words, Ginny and Xiong froze. Although Olan looked only a few years older than them, these few months of life gave them the feeling of an old father and teacher. Oran's departure was within their expectations, but they didn't expect it to come so soon. Pretty much, I can't complete my plan by staying here. Do you have any ideas? Do you plan to go with me or stay here? Xiong's ability and Ginny's talent in eavesdropping are both excellent, but now they are too young, and with Xiong's personality, bringing too many people would be a burden, so Oran did not force it. No matter how they chose, Oran has suitable arrangements. Brother Oran, the bear thought for a moment and then expressed his thoughts. The two of them were just like Ivankov when he left. They didn't want to leave the Sorby kingdom for the time being and wanted to settle down here for a while. It doesn't matter, that's fine. In this case, I will leave the subsequent upgrade plan of the smelting plant to you, and you can take part of it to Bulldog every once in a while. During this time, you have also started to learn the basics. Continue to learn according to what I left for you. Just hoard some materials. If conditions permit, you can also absorb some outsiders. When I find a more stable place, I will contact you, and we will see you then. Okay, Brother Olan, we will definitely help you when you are in need. Wait for me to improve the phone bug, so that Brother Oran can contact us even if you go far away. Brother Ivankov left in such a hurry that I didn't even have time to improve the phone bug for him. Ginny and Bear made their promise, and Olan also completed the preliminary plan for the two of them to continue mining at home while he went out to find a more suitable mine. Chapter 28, Death Before the Alliance is Complete. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. While Orlan was arranging follow-up matters, someone on the MADS ship was also planning something new. Shoo, did you two guys fall into the trap of the native hunters? How come you are so embarrassed? After being chased by Blitz for most of the day, Judge and Quinn finally rushed back, but as soon as they got on the boat, they heard a mean voice. The man with a shiny black mushroom head, a flat nose, and a pair of horns on his head was laughing at the two of them. Caesar Courant, another member of MADS, is currently the moral bottom line of MADS. To be more precise, his bottom line is that he has no bottom line, but it has not yet developed to that point. Of course, in terms of narcissism, he is not inferior to others. Like Quinn and Judge, Caesar also thinks that he is stronger than Vegapunk and looks down on others. Quinn and Judge are so embarrassed that he can't wait to be happy, but this time Quinn and Judge did not attack him, but snorted coldly several times. You idiot, you haven't been out for a day, don't you know what happened? Vegapunk has personally invited another person to join us, and our funding is about to be cut. Quinn and Judge spoke their intelligence one after another, successfully making Caesar a crazy member, but after hearing about Vegapunk's bet, Caesar became excited instead. In other words, is it a competition between results? If the three of us join forces, it's really a good idea. No researcher would care about having too much funding in their hands, and Caesar's living habits are also the most extravagant one, and a large part of the funds he gets will not be used properly. In the original timeline, he even cheated Big Mom's funding in a big way, and then used the money to spend it on wine and women. Although it has not developed to that point now, it has also begun to show signs. It's just that the cooperation of these people is not as smooth as imagined. Mahaha, very good, then let me lead you to victory. Wait, Quinn, why are you leading? That thing is a robot, and what you are researching is useless. It is obvious that I should be the one to lead. Shoo, Judge, didn't you and Quinn both lose? This shows that you are all useless, so it is the right choice for me to lead the team. Although they joined forces, none of the three people would give in to each other. After a while of eye contact, they started fighting among themselves. Vegapunk watched their fight silently from a distance, but did not intervene. Vegapunk was used to this kind of thing, fighting from time to time would not help him in research. Now Vegapunk hopes to meet someone with a stronger level, so that he can be more helpful in research. Several people in MADS have their own research focus. At present, Caesar's research tends to be devil fruit, Quinn is more studying chemical viruses, and Judge focuses on the development of weapons. The three of them had another thing in common in their research. They all wanted to apply their inventions to weapons, which was somewhat inconsistent with Vegapunk's philosophy. From Blitz's behavior pattern, Vegapunk saw more possibilities, so he had deep expectations for Orlan. The next day, Quinn and the other three fought all night without a clear winner, and finally died together. At this time, they all entered the state of lying dead. When the agreed time came, Orlan brought Kate and Blitz here. Ginny and Xiong originally wanted to return together, but Orlan arranged them to deal with other things. Shortly after boarding the ship, they saw the medical team that had been ready. Mr. Sidilir, we are ready and can cooperate with you for surgery at any time. Only Orlan was the main surgeon, and the rest of the people only needed to pass the surgical tools and wipe the sweat. For safety, Orlan even did the work of anesthesiologist himself. After all, Orlan only needed a place and equipment. Nodding to the nurses and doctors, Orlan looked at Kate, who was a little worried behind him. Relax, take a good sleep, and you will have a healthy body in a few hours, I promise. Meow, I believe you. Olin and Kate both put on surgical gowns, while Blitz stood quietly outside the door like a security guard. The door light outside the operating room was on, and Vegapunk put down his research work and observed Blitz's structure outside the operating room. Sidilir created you, is that right? Yes, the master gave me everything. Then are you here to guard this place according to his orders? Yes and no, Blitz came here on her own, Kate is a friend, and Blitz is worried about her. The cold mechanical voice had no emotion, but it struck Vegapunk's heart like a heavy hammer. Genius conception. It was not a set answer, but a behavior derived from his own logic. Among all the robots he had seen, Vegapunk had never seen a robot as human-like as Blitz, and from what Oran said, Blitz still had room for improvement, and it had not yet reached the highest stage. Vegapunk didn't say anything else, but just waited together. Not long after, the door light of the operating room went out, and a nurse walked out first. What's wrong? Is there a problem? Director Vegapunk? There is no problem. Everything went smoothly. The biggest problem is probably that it went too smoothly. Field's connections are mainly in the underground world. You can doubt the character of the doctors and nurses he found, but you can't question their skills. After all, the quacks in the underground world will really be killed. These nurses have experienced big scenes, but they have never seen such a fast transplant operation. From the moment the operation began, Orlan was like a different person, as if he had changed from a person to a precision machine. There was no hesitation or deviation in the operation. The replacement was completed in less than 1/5 of the time of conventional surgery, and even a few minutes were wasted to make the suture look better, but compared with what happened next, this incident seemed insignificant. After all the assistants left the operation, Orlan himself still did not leave, but delayed for dozens of minutes. Then Vegapunk saw a person who had just finished a thoracotomy and walked out of the operating room by himself. What's going on? Where's the stretcher? Hurry up and lie down. Who told you to move like that? Calm down, Director Vegapunk. Kate is my person. I pay more attention to her than you do. She can walk down by herself because she is fine. The Hex Heart will enhance the body's recovery ability. The Fur Tribe's self-healing speed is not low. Combined with some special therapeutic effects of the Glimmer, the current effect can be achieved, which ultimately impacts Vegapunk's inherent concepts. Chapter 29 Departure and 2.5 years. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kate now had a shining gem on her chest, and a faint blue light shone from the cross-shaped crystal. That was her new heart. This seemingly inconspicuous crystal took on the responsibility of circulating her blood. Under the dual stimulation of the Glimmer and the Hex Crystal, Kate's body recovered very quickly, and the heart had been perfectly integrated into her body. she moved her arms, and every cell seemed to be filled with new power. Move around. It will take time for your body to fully adapt to the increase brought by this new heart. Moving more can help you adapt to it better. Come here, there is a special test site on the ship. Vegapunk was even more excited than the two parties involved. He was more curious than Orlan about what kind of changes this heart could bring to people. Under the leadership of Vegapunk, they soon came to the bottom of the ship, where many test instruments were placed. Some targets were also full of bullet holes, and some experimenters who had just finished the experiment were packing up. Seeing Vegapunk's arrival, they nodded silently and then made way. Come on, whether it's speed or power, the equipment here can give accurate data. Data will not lie. It's a pity that there is no comparison standard, otherwise the effect can be better seen. Such trivial matters are not important, Kate. It is now a part of your body, feel it, and then control this power. It is now in your body, just like breathing and emotions, it is just a matter of thought. Olin taught Kate how to use this power, and Vegapunk had already turned on the equipment. The Hex heart does not beat like a flesh and blood heart, but Kate can feel the sound of the energy pulsating in it. Sizzle, electric sparks flashed in the fur. Unlike the original static electricity, these electric sparks gradually condensed into dancing silver snakes. The current surrounded the body's surface while stimulating the body's cells. Looking at the speed measuring device in front of her, Kate exerted force with her legs, and her body turned into a white electric light and flashed past the speedometer. From her own surprised expression, it can be seen that she never thought she could run so fast. The sudden increase in speed made her feel uncomfortable. She couldn't control her body for a while and hit the wall next to her. Director Vegapunk, it seems that you need to improve this. The resistance of this equipment to electric current is a bit poor. I think it's the intensity of her electric current. The fur tribe I know can't do this. The speedometer was emitting black smoke at this time. The current that leaked when Kate ran seemed to have destroyed some parts, but Orlan and Vegapunk didn't care about the small matter of equipment damage. Compared with the result, this is not important at all. Okay, Mr. Sidilir, this is your permission card. I have opened the permission for all the equipment on the ship for you. I took you to visit the situation here yesterday. Please do as you please. If you have any questions, ask other researchers. I want to continue my research. Time is really not enough. It would be great if there were more of me. Since he saw what he wanted to see, Vegapunk didn't waste time anymore and gave the permission card that he had prepared long ago to Orlan. The activation of this card means that Orlan has become a core member of the MADS organization, and can command ordinary researchers to assist in his research, just like Vegapunk and others. Time is limited. It is fun to use limited time to pursue unlimited knowledge. Sometimes getting the answer directly will make people feel boring. Infinite knowledge is indeed like this, Sidilir. I am looking forward to our future cooperation. From the current situation, Vegapunk thinks that Orlan is more suitable to be a scientific research partner than Quinn and others, but he has not made any conclusions. No one can say what the future will be like. After Vegapunk left, Kate also began to test her limits. Sweat seeped out from her fur, but she liked this feeling very much. This was the first time she ran to her heart's content. The heart was no longer a burden, but a more stable source of power. Are you feeling uncomfortable? No, I just feel a little uncomfortable after the enhancement. It will be almost the same after adapting. After stretching her body, Kate felt that her condition was surprisingly good. By the way, Oran, can you squat down for a moment? What's wrong? There was a missing link before, and now it's time to make up for it. Oran, don't you know the fur tribe well? Then you should know this, Kolukyu. The height difference between the two is quite large now. After Oran squatted down, Kate grabbed Oran's shoulders and rubbed her cheek against him. This is the traditional way of greeting the fur tribe. Rubbing cheeks is equivalent to shaking hands and saying hello to ordinary people. After leaving Zou and being caught, Kate basically sealed this way of greeting. Even after escaping, she never used it again. In her opinion, this is a greeting that only family members have, and today is her new life, a new beginning. In her cognition, a benefactor who changed her destiny is as important as her family. The MADS ship stayed in the Kingdom of Salt for a few more days. Oran also arranged the follow-up matters during this time and embarked on a new journey. Although Quinn and his team had opinions on the allocation of funds, they were unable to complete Vegapunk's bet because they could not elect a leader. At first, they did not think there was any big problem, but later, the three of them regretted not being able to stop this matter in advance. Unknowingly, there was one more person weighing on their heads. Mads's voyage continued. As time passed, they also entered the Grand Route and began to explore new unknowns. Time also unknowingly came to 1487. It has been 2 years since Orlan joined MADS, and it has been 2.5 years since he came to this sea. Today, he and Vegapunk are experimenting with a new device. Punk, are you ready? Ready, I hope it will succeed this time. At this time, Vegapunk stood in a huge glass cover with an oxygen mask on his face. As he pressed the switch on his body and indicated that he was ready, Orlan also pulled the handle on the side, and a large amount of seawater instantly rushed in and submerged Vegapunk. After a while, the seawater was automatically drained, but Vegapunk's face was very disappointed. Olan, it still doesn't work. This can't prevent the influence of seawater on the ability users. They will still feel powerless. The composition of pyrobroin particles is still too special. Dr. Vegapunk. Dr. Sidilir, a woman suddenly came to the deck and said she wanted to join us. That while Orlan and Vegapunk were discussing the research results, the laboratory broadcast suddenly sounded, as if some emergency had occurred. Chapter 30 Anti-Seastone Stand Plan and Bakingomstusi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 30 Anti-Seastone Stand Plan and Bakingomstusi, Devil Fruit, the secret treasure of the sea, can gain incredible abilities after eating it, but it will be hated by the sea and become a landlubber. Even fishmen will lose the ability to swim after eating the devil fruit. Although they can still breathe in the ocean, they will sink to the bottom like a stone. Vegapunk and Orlan experimented with a special device. The goal is to separate pyrobroin particles. It is a special kind of keratin particle. The volcanic eruption brought it into the high altitude. After contacting water, due to different densities, it formed island clouds and sea clouds. In addition, the proportion of this particle in seastone is extremely high, and there are also such particles in rivers, lakes and seas. It can be said that it is everywhere, but it will disappear without a trace when entering the human digestive system. The sea clouds of the Sky Island, like the sea water, can make the ability users feel powerless, and seastone is the nemesis of the ability users. The powerlessness of seawater only makes the ability user unable to actively use their abilities, but the passive changes of the body are still there. For example, in the original timeline, in Arlong Park, when Luffy fell into the pool, his head could still be pulled up to let him breathe. Seastone with high purity will seal the ability of the ability user and return the body of the ability user to normal. In the war on the top of the original timeline, Marco, who was handcuffed by Seastone, temporarily lost his ability, and all this cannot be avoided by pyrobroin particles. The higher the concentration of pyrobroin, the stronger the sealing of Seastone. Therefore, Orlan proposed this experimental mode, using a special generator to generate a stance to isolate this particle, so that the ability user will no longer be afraid of ordinary water. As the ability user of the Brain Fruit, Vegapunk personally served as a test subject, but it has not been effective. Oran, this particle is very strange. It has strong penetrability and strange dependence on water. It seems that the conventional mode cannot achieve this goal. Perhaps it is easier to imitate the bubbles in the Sabaody archipelago and directly isolate the water. That consumes too much energy and will limit the holder's combat. At least this time you have the strength to wave your hands, which is also progress. Handing a new research suit to Vegapunk, Oran made another X in the experimental record. Oran, do you remember the hypothesis I mentioned? Regarding the origin of the devil fruit, I think if you want to understand the root of rejection, you have to find the source of its birth. Devil fruit is the possibility of human evolution that people pursue, and it is a person living in multiple dimensions that people imagine and describe. Because it is unnatural, it is rejected by the mother of nature, the sea. Although it bears punishment, it still exists in the world. This is the hypothesis of the origin of the devil fruit proposed by Vegapunk, and he himself does not know whether this hypothesis is correct. Assuming my idea is right, P-particles are special substances generated by nature, and their purpose is to fight against unreasonableness. Isn't our research originally against nature? The endless energy you are aiming for is against the law. Even if your hypothesis is true, I will not give up this research topic. Surpassing it is what we should do. In the past 2 years, Orlan and Vegapunk have had many arguments, but they get along better and better. They are not fighting for the first place in the group, but the research direction of technology. The arguments have promoted their research progress. Even if there are differences of opinion, they will not use seniority to suppress others, but will help each other to improve the experiment, and let the results speak for themselves. In Vegapunk's view, Orlan's way of thinking is unrestrained, and his research propositions are in line with his own. He is a good friend. The only special thing is that Orlan is sometimes more radical, and he also has a pursuit of weapons. When others suspect that you have any deadly weapons, you'd better take out a more powerful one. These are Orlan's original words. Vegapunk believes that endless energy can reduce fighting and strive for peace, but Orlan thinks that peace can only be discussed if there is a weapon that can protect this energy from being used by those with ulterior motives. At the same time, during their interactions, Vegapunk also realized that although Orlan always looked polite, he was more arrogant than anyone else in his bones. But this arrogance has never been shown by bullying the weak. If you don't observe carefully, you can only see his gentle side. Only when you offend him will you know the consequences. As for how Vegapunk knew the consequences, it can only be said that someone on the ship has experienced it. When Orlan has a bad taste, he is the most deadly one on the ship. The broadcast on the ship also sounded at the right time at this time, calling Orlan and Vegapunk out together. At this time, on the deck, a woman with long blonde hair and a white hat sat by the side of the ship, quietly waiting for the result. There seemed to be some fighting around, and she knocked down several security guards on the ship. I've said it before, I just want to talk to your person in charge, don't be so radical. She raised her hand slightly to indicate that she had no hostility. After all, she felt that some people who came later were threatening. As she said, she came here with a certain purpose, and there was no need to make enemies. What's the matter? Who is this woman? Does she have a grudge against Sidilir and Vegapunk? If there is a grudge, it would be better if someone could teach those two stinky guys a lesson, don't you think, Quinn? Since Orlan joined, the three of them have further promoted the formation of a united front, and the activity they most often do is the verbal victory method, but for some reason, Quinn, who usually talks the most, said nothing this time. It seems that you are not convinced again. What, do you want to fight? Yes, do you want to fight with Blitzcrank again? Now Caesar and Judge know why Quinn didn't respond. Kate and Blitzcrank came behind them at some point. Kate is fine, but Blitzcrank, a bulky iron shell, has learned to walk like a cat after spending a long time with Kate because of the learning module. He walked all the way without making any sound. In the past 2 years, MADS has conducted several competitions between achievements. Kate believes that her heart was made by Orlan, so she is also one of the achievements, so she teamed up with Blitzcrank to fight 2v3. From Caesar's frightened expression at this time, it can be seen that Kate's record is very significant, at least leaving the three of them with some psychological shadows. It was easy for the furry tribe, which had been strengthened by Hex Tech, to fight these fledgling guys with Blitz. Quinn, you are a traitor again. Caesar's eyes contained anger towards Quinn. Quinn did not say anything. He must have discovered something, but he did not remind them. Quinn stared back at Caesar's gaze without fear. What does it have to do with me? If I remind you now, wouldn't I be an accomplice? While exchanging eyes, the three of them began to shake their heads at the same time. They had not made any new research results recently, so they would not go to seek death. Kate did not say anything, and stayed behind them with Blitz until Orlan and Vegapunk came outside. I have seen that woman on the bounty before. She is Bakingomstusi, a pirate. Why is she here?